Hi, this is Al of Resurrections, an Adam Warlock and Thanos podcast, and proud member of the collective, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. You are listening to episode 264. I am your High Priest Rey. Hello. And joining me tonight for a waxing crescent is one of the Velvet Drapes, Justin. Justin, how are you?
Good. How are you, Ray?
Yeah, good. It's been a while since we've chatted, so it's always good to have you back on. I know.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me back, and thanks as always, loonies, for listening.
Yeah, loony listeners will know, be familiar with Justin. More recently, you've jumped on to some of the bonus episodes. I should say the Patroonies would know that.
Yes.
But you've been pretty busy yourself, I imagine, Justin. You've got a few projects in the works, so to speak. So, I know we've touched upon it before.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff going on, yeah.
yeah. But how's that all going?
Good, great. The Tomes of Evil is rolling right along as always. Mm-hmm. We're actually doing the Devil's Reign crossover, as you know, which has been super fun. Yeah. And my other project, the Lost Library of Legends, which I'll talk about a little bit later, I'm still working on that. It's been going a little bit slower, but it's my first endeavor, so I was prepared for that.
Look, good things come to those who wait, Justin.
That's right. It'll eventually be here. I'm thinking probably in February it'll be ready to launch.
Oh, okay. So not too long. When this episode drops, it will just be February. So not too long to go. And loony listeners, you'll be able to obviously catch Justin there, in his own backyard, so to speak. So a big welcome to Justin on the show. And what Justin and I will be doing, since it is a waxing crescent, is a LUNAR-PICK modern run review. So this will be a Moon Knight issue 11 by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. So that's what we're looking for. Should be good. But before any of that, of course, a huge thank you to all the Patroonies out there. Thank you so much for contributing to the show, for being part of the show. Like yourself, Justin, it's valued, absolutely valued as well. And love to be able to provide in any way we can. Justin's been so generous, being a Patroonie, to actually create the material as well for the Patroonies with me. So very grateful indeed. Also as well, Drew Toombs of Tombs and Luke Music, Daniel doing Fringe Night, a great creation there. CLZ Comics by Collectors and Dreamland Comics from Schaumburg, Illinois. So we're back to, after the huge big week a couple of weeks ago, Justin. The dust has settled. We're kind of back into our groove again.
Dust has settled.
The moon dust has settled. I've got to ask, of course. I love to ask anyone that comes on the show. I think I've asked Andrew previously in previous episodes, but the trailer, Justin. It seems like so long ago now, but it's still fresh in my mind.
But it also seems like just yesterday too. Yeah. I loved it. I loved it so much. I had to watch it probably 100 times that weekend. Full disclosure, I kept rewinding that.
Yeah.
I love it. I really am so excited, and I'm counting down the days, as I'm sure you are. I've got the butterflies in my stomach every time I think about the date coming up so quickly.
Yes.
It's just been so great.
Yeah, I think I've got a countdown timer on my phone, so I think it's down to 50. Well, by the time, whilst we're recording right now, I think it's 59 or 58 days to go. So we're getting closer there. Tommy, a little shout out to Tommy. He called it out in one of our chats as well, saying there's 60 odd days to go. It's not that long, Justin. Before we know it, we'll be hopefully doing a watch party. Definitely be talking about it on the show. So plenty of things to look ahead regardless of the TV show itself, Justin, I mean, and broadly speaking, I mean, not necessarily Moon Knight, I mean, what have you been up to reading-wise? Have you been catching up on old comics, reading up on the latest ones?
I actually caught up on one that I had been wanting to read for a long time. Back in, I think it was 2007 or 8. There was another X Factor series that Peter David wrote.
Yes.
And it was X Factor Investigations, which had Jamie Madrox in the lead. And I never read that. It was always on my list of ones that I wanted to go back and read. And everyone told me, you've got to read X Factor. It's just amazing. And so I saw it kept getting all these awards, and I kept reading about it. And I said, I really want to read this. So finally, I bought some of the old trade paperbacks of that recently, and I'm going to start from the beginning, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, no. Had you read the all-new, all-different X Factor? I think that was prior to this 2006 or 7 run by Peter David?
Yeah, I had collected that in the 90s, and so when it switched teams and Peter David took over with that incarnation, I was still collecting, and I loved that. I loved that incarnation of the team so much.
Fantastic. Yeah. I think from memory, I think it's issue 72, something like that. I think that was it brought together the likes of Havoc, Polaris, Strong Guy, Wolfsbane. Strong Guy's awesome. Guido.
Guido, love him. Yeah, he's so good.
In the 90s. Wolfsbane. And of course, Jamie Madrox.
Yeah.
It's so funny. During the 90s when I was collecting that as well, and, just reading it, not saying it out loud, for a long time, I thought it was Guido. Guido Carosella. So, again, obviously, with it being not that, it's like, that's a bit weird, Guido. But actually,
I like that. No, Guido, that's a good ring to it, too. Yeah.
Wow, I think Guido's a lot better. But had you been... Also, as well, I know I haven't been collecting it. I'm a big Peter David X Factor fan as well. But they've recently released, I think it's X-Men Legends or something. There was, they returned to it. So they had that classic team, the all new, all different. Have you been reading that by any chance? I haven't been.
No, I read about that. And I think even the artist from the 90s, Larry Stroman, maybe, came back to do something.
Yeah, I've got to pick it up.
That made me really excited too, but I actually haven't read that yet. Yeah,
and
that's on my list.
Speaking of Guido, Strong Guy, I saw in the ads for one of the more recent comics. I think it's Tinny Howard off the top of my head. She's doing, I think it's called like Secret X or something like that, and Guido is in there. So Guido, Forge, Is it Armor? The one, the mutant where she has a whole like energized robot around her.
Is it Armor or Husk or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not too clear, but I saw Guido and I thought, oh gosh, I've got to get this. So I think that's going to be out later in February.
Cool! I'm glad he's still around. I love that character.
Yeah. Well, he apparently, I think he died and went to hell or something. He was almost the king of hell in some. I didn't follow it after that, so I've lost track of Strong Guy. But I loved him in the 90s run and in the X Factor Investigations, which is, oh my gosh, Justin, you are going to be wiped out with some of the things that happen in there. It's just
I'm so excited.
Bonkers crazy.
What about you, Ray? What have you been reading lately?
Yeah, I've been attacking my my Epic collections, so I've actually got a fair few coming my way. I'm very happy. I'll finally be able to say I cracked the 100 or so Epics. So I've reached the 100 club. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's I tell you, it takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
But
those are great. Wow, that's an accomplishment.
They're fantastic, and what I find that they really promote or actually motivate you to read the older runs. So I'm reading at the moment Fantastic Four Volume 2, which is still in the 60s somewhere. I think it's yeah, I mean, it's early in their run, and I'm really enjoying it. I mean, if you'd asked me a few years ago, or a fair few years ago before Epic Collections, I probably wouldn't have bothered maybe checking out the 60s stuff.
It was low on the priority list.
Yeah. I mean, even though, despite the fact that it's available on Marvel Unlimited, I probably wouldn't go there. But with Epic Collections, it's just fun because obviously you have it in your hand, hard copies. So Fantastic Four Volume 2, I can't remember the name of it, something of Master Doom, and I've gone back to 90s Avengers. So it's an Epic Collection, the Collection Obsession. I know we spoke about that before.
Yeah. We were talking about that not too long ago. I love that one with the Brethren.
The Brethren and how they're literally just scum of the universe, which is the filth
of the universe.
The filth of the universe is very. I thought it was a great take. A little shout out to Capes and Lunatics. They covered it and they hated it. And I said, so I defended it, saying it's one of my favorites. Like, it's so boring.
The art in some of those issues was a little patchy. I will say that.
Yes,
some of because they had. I think at that time they had a rotating cast of artists. They didn't really have a regular artist, maybe.
Yeah. So some kind of 90s patchiness art there for sure.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it's great. And there are issues before and after it in the Epic Collection. I haven't really started it yet. I've just started on Fantastic Four. But going well. Loonies though, we are not here for that, of course. We're here for Moon Knight.
We're here for Moon Knight.
And this is going to be an interesting one for you, Justin. You've mentioned that this will be an interesting discussion, being something that you, I don't know, haven't really dabbled in that much. The Brian Michael Bendis run. What are your initial?
That's the one that I've read the least out of all the Moon Knight runs. Yeah.
So, what are your impressions like, having not read much of it, having heard what everyone said? When you, we'll get into it, but as you open the book for this issue, for this discussion, what were your kind of, assumptions about the series? What were you expecting?
I was expecting the tussle with the three new identities, the Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America stuff, and how that added to the dynamic of the character. That was really strange. I will say that. That was really strange. Also, some of the stuff, I think that Brian Michael Bendis, to be honest with you, he's strongest when he writes his own characters.
Yeah,
I think when he writes for the characters that he has made, he's done some of his best work. That's not to say he did a terrible job with Moon Knight, because I don't think he did. I think this was actually an entertaining issue. I think he also does a really good job, and this issue is a perfect spotlight of that, of writing really good action sequences. Because the fight in this was excellent.
It was.
And that's why I gave it higher marks than I would have otherwise. I'm a sucker for a good fight scene, you know that, Ray.
Me too. I love the action scenes. For sure. Well, let's get into our LUNAR-PICK review then. So now, if this works, and please indulge me, listeners, we've got some. I want to give a shout out to CMK7, Chris. So for the video, which is exclusive to Patronies, he's added a few more animated transitions. So hopefully by the time that this comes out for Patronies, you'll see some pretty funky stuff.
I love it.
A big thank you to Chris. As for audio, you just got a slight pause there from Ray as I pretended that the transition started. But anyway, back to the issue. As mentioned, it's issue 11 from Volume 6 of Moon Knight. It was released March 28th, 2012. As we've discussed, Brian Michael Bendis, Alex Maleev, penciler, the dynamic duo there, and colours from Matt Hollingsworth, letterer, VC's Cory Petit, and editor Stephen Wacker. And now availability, again, this is still readily available on floppy. You should be able to find it. It's not too expensive, even on eBay. I think it's quite achievable. Otherwise, it's on digital. Yeah. It's on Marvel Unlimited. I'm assuming you have a copy as well, Justin?
Yeah, I've got the digital. But yeah, I think I'm going to get the complete collection when it comes out. I've seen a lot of marketplaces like Facebook comic selling groups. They do sell them as sets because it's a nice 12 issue
run. It's not that long. So that's handy. And speaking of trades, it was available on trade in softcover and hardcover. It got released twice as hardcovers, the first time in 2 separate volumes, the second time more recently in a complete hardcover volume. And by the time that this show comes out, February 1st, the complete collection, that's a new softcover with all 12 issues, that should be released. I know that's on Amazon at least, so just check your LCSs. But that's one of the many comic books coming out just in anticipation for the show.
Yeah, we actually have 2 in February, don't we? Besides that one, we also have one of the omnibus.
Yes. One of the I think that's a re-release of Volume 1, which because I missed out on the first one. So yeah, Volume 1's being re-released, and then as for other complete collections, the Jeff Lemire, Greg Smallwood complete collection will be out, and also the Max Bemis Legacy, Jason Burrows, that's coming out in complete collection, all between now and I think April. So plenty of Moon Knight stuff, and then a couple of other omnibuy after that. Justin, my gosh,
we have a wealth of Moon Knight material to look forward to.
Oh, absolutely. Now, listeners, of course, if you are unaware, or if you are aware, and for first-time listeners, what Justin and I will do, we'll go through a synopsis or a bare bones. This time, courtesy of Wiki. And Justin, may I please ask if you could spare your golden vocal cord, your honeycomb vocal cords for this one?
Of course. I'd be delighted to.
So Justin will give us our bare bones, just in case you want a little rundown. And then we'll get into some key moments of the comic, and then talk about, and again, my gosh, Justin's done his homework, some notes. We'll go through maybe some writing, art themes, characterizations, and references. And to cap it all off, we'll do a rating from Conishue's rating system. I don't know why. Look, that's not true, Justin. There's on prompt sheet. I'm just going to let the loonies know. It says 3.5 out of 10. I didn't give 3.5 out of 10. Or was that yours, Justin?
Oh, did I put that on?
Oh my gosh! Oh god! I may have given away the game there. So sorry. I was genuinely surprised. I can't remember.
I did that last time to Noel too. I put my store under his name.
Oops. So strike that, listeners. If maybe I can convince Justin.
Spoilers.
Well, maybe I can convince you otherwise, Justin, to give it a higher or lower mark.
Maybe we'll change that. Yeah,
we'll see. But Justin, would you be so kind as to give us the bare bones?
Absolutely. With all options exhausted, Moon Knight and Buck use an old Captain America line to reach S.H.I.E.L.D. They inform Maria Hill of the situation and how Buck managed to tag the head with a tracer, but their responder was trashed in the scuffle. Maria wants to send excessive force, but the two rush to jump off the line. A lighter touch is needed. Meanwhile, Masque has the head and calls her father as she wants to rearrange their deal in order to get a larger portion. But Moon Knight arrives. The two use their weapons to battle, Moon Knight using the claws, webs, and shield, but Masque outmaneuvers Marc into a submission. Moon Knight, as Wolverine, asks for a bullet in his head, but Masque is suddenly thrown off. Buck has stolen the helmet. Running to his Jeep and taking off, Masque runs outside to fire at Buck and manages to strike his gas tank. Marc tries to stop her, but Buck's Jeep goes up in flames. The explosion throws both to the ground, and Marc goes unconscious. During Marc's sleep, he is visited by Maya to help wake up and return to the battle. Marc rises and takes down Masque as Maya coaches him. She is now in Marc's conscious. With Masque defeated, he runs to Buck, who is still alive. The two quickly run as LAPD and the news are close behind. Count Nefaria watches the coverage on the TV, disappointed in his daughter. However, the police arrive to Nefaria's door with a subpoena. Moon Knight has driven the Count to his last straw.
Thank you so much, Justin. That was very well read out, and a big thanks to Wiki as well for what I think is a pretty efficient, succinct synopsis. Justin, would you? Yeah, I think it.
Yeah, that pretty much gets it all. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, although I did ask you slightly earlier, after having read this issue, then, so your first impressions of this, did you enjoy it? Or did it meet your expectations for Bendis?
Well, this is I think my second time reading this. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I actually read better than the first time. The first time I wasn't as keen on it, so it did grow on me more than the first time I read it.
Okay.
A lot of that has to do with the action sequence. Like I said, I really enjoyed the fight between Moon Knight and Masque. She's actually a really good nemesis for him. I would love to see more of her appear in future Moon Knight stories. I don't know if she's still around in any capacity. She has been cloned a whole bunch, hasn't she?
I think so. I think more recently she's now got the Phoenix Force, and she's she's died as well. I mean, comics. So I think she's been dead. She's come back. But yeah, she's currently in, I think there's a limited run or something at least, and she has the Phoenix Force with her. So she's the current holder. But she's a great character. Oh, hang on. Sorry. You're talking about Madame Masque, right? Not Echo.
Yeah.
Sorry. Echo, Madame Masque, no, I don't know where she is. Yeah. Last I saw her was in the West Coast Avengers run, I do believe, or the Black Widow run, with either Jodie Hauser, that was the Black Widow, Web of Widow, or the West Coast Avengers with Kelly Thompson.
Okay. So she is still around in some capacity. Yeah.
Yeah, she's still. Yeah, I can't remember where she at the moment. I don't know where Count Nefaria is as well. To be honest, he might be on the raft.
I was going to ask you about that too. What he's up to these days, but
no,
maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I know him more so from this Bendis run than any other. I think I checked out his previous appearances in the Avengers after having read this Bendis run, but I haven't seen him since. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Madame Masque.
Yeah, I liked the issue for the action. I liked it for Madame Masque.
Yep.
I like her. I've always liked her as a character, going back to the old '80s Iron Man stuff.
Yep.
Which is why I was happy to see her in this story. I actually liked her as a foil for Moon Knight more so than Nefaria.
Oh,
to be honest with you, I think that was a strange choice of a villain for the story for Moon Knight. Nefaria, somebody that's wiped the floor with all the Avengers at their most powerful. He's trashed them, and you've got. I mean, I love Moon Knight, and I know that he would waltz up to the Juggernaut if he wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
Space, but I mean,
Madame Masque
we have to be honest about his limitations at the same time.
Absolutely. I think we all know that, but Marc. I think Marc's the only one that doesn't know that.
Exactly.
But I mean, I agree with you with that regards. I mean, Madame Masque is a lot more on his level, and when they engage with each other, I mean, I think the fights are a lot more exciting because, I mean, it was still exciting with Count Nefaria, but it's I don't know, it's just better to see, like, there's more tension. Moon Knight's going to try something fantastic when he's up against someone like Count Nefaria, whereas with Madame Masque, it's just really just bare knuckles. Just trying
knock down, drag out fight. Exactly.
Yeah. So what did you think, sticking with Madame Masque, what did you think of, because I know of her, I don't know too much about her back history. When they take off her mask, that thing, and they're surprised, like, she doesn't even need to wear the mask at all. Is that how Whitney Frost is? Like, is she just a normal person? I thought she was going to be scarred, but...
Well, again, it's tough because there's been different versions of her. Like, I remember in the 90s, too, there was a version of her that was just called Masque, and she joined the Avengers for a little while, or she helped the Avengers for a little while. So there's been different versions of her, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure if they've all been Whitney Frost or not. I think some have been clones, maybe some have been like brainwashed people that had their memories replaced with hers or something along those lines. Yeah. So I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but I always liked the character in Iron Man. It was after that I kind of lost track of her.
Yeah, I think I've seen her a little bit in Iron Man as well, but I've only come across her again. She seems to be a good foil for Black Widow as well, and interestingly enough...
I can see that, yeah.
And interestingly enough for Kate Bishop too. So they seem to, she seems to be a good nemesis there. And like I said, that's where I kind of saw her previously. Apologies, Justin. When you were talking about Madame Masque, I was looking at our prompt sheet, and the key moments you got here. The second one, Vision of Maya. So that's why I was looking at that while you were speaking, and it's kind of like, Maya, Echo. So that's where I kind of lost track. But this is another key moment that you've mentioned, and it is a very interesting one. And what I gathered from the bare bones from the wiki was additional, additional surprise. Did you get that? Was she meant to be kind of? Well, she is part of his conscious in that iteration, or was it more like a dream? How people kind of near-death experience.
Kind of like him seeing Khonshu in his mind, like when he died before, or like that type of. That's how I took it. Like he was at death's door, or he had like a really bad concussion or something and was hallucinating and just going in and out of consciousness. That's how I took it. Like it was a weird. It was his mind doing stuff. Yeah.
Okay, but not. I guess so. Maybe they didn't insinuate that in the bare bones, but it wasn't an additional identity for Marc. I mean, because who knows what Bendis would have done? I don't know whether he wanted Maya as another identity for Marc or not. But yeah, I largely took.
Interesting. That'd be interesting.
I largely took it similar to you. Say, for instance, Spider-Man is in dire straits and he gets a vision of Uncle Ben. It's that sort of thing.
Right.
He gets
or Mary Jane or Gwen or somebody.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So Maya's the same. I guess that's to kind of consolidate the idea that he cares for her a lot. She's like a close one, a loved one, which inevitably doesn't really go anywhere beyond the Bendis run. It was a bit of a shame because... if we're to talk about Echo, I really do like her. Even before, her appearance on the Hawkeye TV show, I thought she was a pretty awesome character. In the Bendis Daredevil run, she's just fantastic. So we get a little bit of Maya here, but she's, by this stage, for all intents, she's very dead. I mean, we saw from the last issue. So did you read before and after this issue as well, Justin, to get context, or...?
Not since the first read through.
Okay.
So I didn't read them through a second time, so I am a little foggy as to that stuff. But
it's.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just to say it's interesting to ask because one of the big things about Bendis is this continuity of his issues and how you can. It seems like you can be jumping into like the middle of something if you just pick up a random issue of his. I wondered if you got that sense or if you remembered enough, I guess, from your initial read.
Yeah, I remembered enough of the basic plot details to get it. Yeah, I didn't feel like I was lost reading this. Yeah, without having read the first couple of issues before it or something. Yeah, yeah. No, I didn't feel lost. No, not at all. It was a little weird. The whole thing with the Ultron head still is kind of weird to me too. But
yeah, I mean, there's a little... I mean, we had a little bit of a discussion last LUNAR-PICK Modern Review, and I think one of the loonies said, it may have even been Noel, about this is just a blatant, Bendis having to kind of cater towards the Age of Ultron series, which is coming up, so that kind of...
And that was right at that time, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah. But, I mean, there are a lot of... Yeah, there are a lot of random... weird things. I mean, if we're to bounce to say writing, one of the things that I thought was strange, and it was towards the end, was when Buck is in the alleyway with Marc, and they've just escaped the media and the LAPD, cops and stuff. And Yeah, actually, you've got it here in your writing, in your notes here. It's that exact scene about them going and Buck saying "crazy bitch," But well, I'll get your thoughts first then. So what made this one stand out for you? Because I want to let you know about something from this little scene too. But yeah, what did you make of this scene?
Well, I remember the first time I read this whole interaction made me groan, and the second time it made me groan as well. It's just, I don't know. It's the tone of it's so off to me. I don't. Yeah. It's hard to put it into words, but it just doesn't seem like. I don't know. It doesn't seem like something Moon Knight would say. Who, her, or me? I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I've just pulled it up here on the Marvel Unlimited, and I think you've got the dialogue there, but for me, the weirdest thing was the words after, like where you stop. So, Buck says crazy bitch, Marc goes, who, me or her? Oh, you're still the craziest. And then Marc goes, thank you, that's about all I have going for me. Now, yeah, that for me is just really un-Moon Knight. It's not, he never really glorifies his his mental DID condition. So it just really strange writing from Bendis in that sense.
But I didn't care for that. That made me groan. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're both on the same lines there. Also as well, I'm just flicking back to the exchange with I can't think of it now. But yeah, there was just some of the exchange with Maria Hill at the beginning. I thought was just a bit. Here, look, Mr. Moon Knight, how can I help you? And then Marc says, which one are you? And she says, I was just about to ask the same question. I mean, that's kind of a little groany material. It's like Bendis. Yeah. You don't have to have Marc highlight the fact, or Maria Hill highlight the fact that he has, DID.
Exactly. It doesn't need to be in every single conversation.
Yeah. Exactly. So I thought writing-wise, that was a little bit of a letdown. But in general, I think this issue, I mean, I enjoyed it. There was a large portion of it was action, which was pretty cool. And you let Maleev's art do the talking, which is great.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, as far as... I would have to say that I enjoyed this a lot more than some of his other issues during this run. So, again, if you look at substance, it's all just built around one fight. And there's not much. I mean, I don't know, Justin, you can argue that with other comic book issues as well. I mean, there's a big fight, but there seems to be just something lacking here. And again, it probably sound like a broken record whenever we do these Bendis reviews, but it's true. So the main takeaway for me was the fight, and I thought that was awesome. And it was actually more, it was done in detail more so than previous fights in this series. So I think that's what I really appreciated. But any other points there, Justin, that you may want to raise, or maybe another key moment?
Well, like you, I really liked the fight with Madame Masque. I feel like that was because we were ramping up to the conclusion of this. So I liked that we had an all-out action. In fact, when you told me we were doing this one, I had to remember. Was that the one with the big fight with Madame Masque? So I was actually happy.
Nice.
Yeah. But like I said, I think he really writes a really good action sequence. He does those very well. Those are really one of his strengths, and it shows in this issue. And Alex Maleev is great with that. The art.
Yeah, I think also with the art, I'd never noticed it before. I'll maybe have to look at some of the other Alex Maleev art. But one of the things that stuck out for me in his art were the butt shots of Madame Masque. I have to say, did you notice that? That was quite in your face.
A couple of those, yeah.
Literally in your face. So I was a little taken aback by that because I didn't think he was that sort of artist, but maybe he is. I mean, when I mean that artist, look, I mean, artists do gratuitous. They do gratuitous poses, you know, a lot of them do, but it just, to me, it just stood out. Like there was a huge, hang on, there's number 3. I think there's a third shot. So there's 3. I can count 3 of them. There's a lovely splash page of Moon Knight jumping to surprise Madame Masque from above, from the rafters.
Yes.
And just the POV is just right in the line of Madame Masque's butt. So you get that. A couple of pages later, she knees him in the balls, which I thought was hilarious. A little tropey, of course, but still always fun to see when males get kicked in the nuts. So he goes down.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But again,
it just goes to show what a badass she is. She fights dirty.
She fights dirty as well. And Moon Knight is framed brilliantly between her legs, and again, like, her butt is there for everyone to see.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, hopefully it's not just me and some sort of weird fascination, but again, and then there's a few pages later when Buck Lime is driving away in the Jeep. I mean, it's framed in the way that her butt is in the foreground. I mean, come on, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? If I could,
that's very obvious.
Yeah, and it's kind of, the white bit is kind of wedged right up there as well. I don't want to get into detail, but yeah.
What is that accomplishing for her?
I don't know.
Is that an extra degree of armor or something, or protection, or what?
Well, Justin, one of my mates was telling me a while ago, and I can't remember for the life of me the term of it, but do you by any chance know it? There's a term that for like active wear now. I think active wear or lycra, they actually stitch the pants so that they accentuate. Can I dare say the crack of the butt? I don't know what it's a French term, but my mate was saying, and
I haven't heard of that. No.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to look. Loonies, if you know, please let us know. But my mate was saying it. He said it so nonchalantly. He goes, "Oh, look, yeah, I've noticed it." And me and another friend were going, "What?" He goes, "Oh, it's called a blah blah blah. Don't you know?" And he started telling us about how modern lycra or modern activewear now kind of make it so that, you know, the butt is more pronounced. So anyway, I'm just wondering whether Madame Masque has that sort of wearable technology. So I think we better move along, Justin. Look, another thing. Look, sorry, I'm just bombarding you with things here.
No, that's okay.
Just one other thing that really kind of irked me about this, and it's no slight, I guess, on Bendis, but have you ever watched Mythbusters as well, Justin?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Well, I just keep on remembering in my head Mythbusters, if you shoot at a petrol tank in a car, will it or will it not explode? And it doesn't explode. It doesn't. Yeah, it just creates a hole in the tank, and then the petrol just seeps out. That's it. There's no.
I think that was one of their most popular episodes, actually, because that was such a huge movie myth for years. Yeah.
Everyone's wondering, but 2012, Brian Michael Bendis persists with it here. So, a leaking gas tank. He's got a little bit of an explanation. There's some sort of fireworks happening underneath the car, Justin. If you can see, there's a bit of a leaking, but I don't buy it.
With some sparks and stuff. Yeah,
I don't buy it though. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
there could have been something else that she shot at that caused the Jeep to overturn. She could have shot the tires out or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She shot the tire, but she shoots a whole lot of stuff. But Buck is happily driving away, and then all of a sudden, like, it just explodes out of nowhere. And they all go flying. Anyway, I mean, I know it's nitpicky, and I know comic books are tropey at the best of times, but you know.
Yeah, but it's. At the same time, you've got to call it for what it is. It's very Michael Bay. Yeah.
Yes, Michael Bay. Very Transformers. Did he do TMNT as well? Like
he did, yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I want to watch it. But then I'm kind of put off by Michael Bay. But anyway, I can say that. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one either, just because I don't want to be really disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's probably the good thing then, Justin. That you haven't seen it. But anyway, hopefully, maybe one day I'll get bored and watch it as well. Any other notes here, Justin, that you'd like to raise?
There was one other part that made me cringe, and it was when Moon Knight was asking Masque to shoot him, and it was the Wolverine persona was in charge.
Exactly.
Like, do it. I was like, oh, God.
Yes.
Really?
That was another.
That makes me cringe so bad. Yeah.
So I was thinking about that because exactly like you, I'm so glad that we're kind of on the same page. For me, that was very cringeworthy. But then I was thinking, because like it's almost like characterizing Wolverine. But then I'm thinking, if this is one of Marc's identities, obviously it's not the real Wolverine. Is this how Marc sees Wolverine? And therefore, this is how he thinks Wolverine would act. And it's a little over the top, a little OTT. But I'm just trying to justify why it's so cringeworthy. But perhaps, maybe his versions of Captain America's spy, and they're not the real. They're not the real deal, and they sometimes seem a bit larger than how the real characters would act, and that maybe explains, I think, why Wolverine's going, "Come on, do it, kill me!" Like he's doing the Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. I'm here.
do it.
Kill me. I'm here. But maybe that explains it. I love the Austrian accent.
I love that.
Oh gosh, Predator.
On a side note, Ray, are you excited for the new Predator film?
I was just about to ask you. Yeah, I am, absolutely. I don't know when and where it's gonna. I think it's gonna be released, isn't it? HBO Max or something, which we don't have in Australia, or something.
Yeah, it is. I think it's coming to some streaming service exclusively. I don't think they're doing a theatrical release or something, which is strange. But
it is strange. I mean,
the premise sounds amazing.
Yeah. The olden days, right? We're talking colonial days. Yeah.
Like 300 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can't wait. I've got a couple of, apart from Netflix and Disney Plus, I've got a couple of Australian streaming services, and they tend to have a mix match of, American streaming services. So it might pop up there. I'm fingers crossed. I hope so. Otherwise, I might have to sail the high seas,
Yeah,
that
would be worth it to be able,
absolutely,
to be able to watch that. Yeah.
Well, maybe I know. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, but say, are you looking forward to it?
Oh, very much. Yeah, very much. I love those movies so much. I even love Predator 2.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
Yeah, very fun.
When I first watched it, I was massively disappointed in the cinemas because how could you top Predator? So
I know.
The anticipation. So I was massively disappointed, but it's become just a cult classic. I just loved the weirdness of it. But maybe we should do a bonus episode on the new Predator movie whenever that comes out.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, reaction episode.
Reaction, yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Did you watch the latest one, the Predator? That's the one where.
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, you haven't.
The one with the big giant one, was that good?
Yeah. A bit of a hot take. Not much of a hot take. I enjoyed it, but I absolutely despise the last 5 minutes of it. Let's just say that.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what happens?
The ending leaves something to be desired. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know, or do you want to be spoiled, or?
Oh, I am going to watch it. Yeah, I'm going to watch it.
Okay, I went to. I'd love to get your thoughts on that last 5 minutes, Justin. Just
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to persuade you or influence you in any way. But anyway, so yeah, absolutely looking forward to that. And incidentally as well, this happened a while ago, but the Thomas brothers they came to a settlement with Disney Plus about Predator. So they were suing. They were going to sue Disney for some sort of breach in copyright or something, which is why a lot of the Marvel comics. There's one being written by Ed Brisson, it was held up because they weren't allowed to release it. There were omnibuses of Predator to be released through Marvel, but now it seems like it's all systems go, so that's good.
Good.
As an aside, any Moon Knight / Predator fans, you'll be happy to know those are all coming out. But yes.
Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, back to the Wolverine, kill me.
Back to Moon Knight. I had to when you did the Predator reference, it made me think about because Russell and I were talking about the new movie and
who doesn't think of Arnie every now and again? Come on. He's an action king. I rate him. He's, for me, when the Expendables came out, just another tangent here, Justin.
Yeah.
When the Expendables came out and like Sly Stallone is the leader of the... For me, Arnie is the king. He's the action king.
Yeah.
Not Sylvester Stallone. I mean, he's good as well, but I'm in camp Arnie for me, Running Man.
I agree with you about that.
Yeah, Total Recall.
Man, Contra. Or... Commando. It wasn't Contra. I was calling Contra for some reason.
What else is that? Predator. Terminator 2, Terminator 1. I mean, massive movies. Come on.
True Lies.
But, I mean, to be fair, Sly, he produced or whatever. He put together the whole Expendables thing. So, of course, you put it yourself in the spotlight. But anyway, I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. Anyone who likes Sly better than Arnie can run at me. So
that's right, yeah. As Lilith would say, fight me, nerds.
Fight me, nerds. Yeah, she does. She would say that. Yeah, but my equivalent is run at me. Maybe it's an Aussie thing. Run at me, I'll tackle you.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
But yeah, so Wolverine. Look, I love Wolverine as well. But yeah. A bit over the top there for that one. Any other? Let me just think. Any other? There were some just little bits and bobs here that just kind of didn't tick me off, but they just it's like I liked Moon Knight using his cape as a distraction. That was good, and then seeing him just with his black mask, that because you don't often see Moon Knight in that guise, so that was cool.
Yeah, I kind of like that at the end where he lost like almost all of his costume and he was just running around with this white suit on. That was kind of cool.
Almost like a mummy.
Just for something different, Yeah.
The mask is almost like a mummy. It's like bandages on his head. And did he kill Madame Masque? Her eyes are clearly wide open at the end.
I was wondering that too, because I couldn't remember the first time I read this. I was like, did she die in this or what? But
yeah, this is a problem when death is desensitized in comics, because I didn't really care. I know she's going to be back,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'm assuming she did, because Echo has died in this series as well, and both Echo and Madame Masque are running around in current day, comics. So, but yeah, maybe she did die, Yeah.
I wonder if this whole series is just going to end up being a dream.
Oh my god!
Like Echo and Masque never died. Like nobody actually died in this series. Nothing actually happened here. This was all just a dream in Marc's head.
This is all a dream, and he just fell asleep like in the backseat of a car while Buck was driving. And how about that? And they're just about to start their adventure. That would be cool.
Yeah. I like to think that that's the explanation behind a lot of this stuff. Like Age of Khonshu, like Marc dreamed that he beat up all the Avengers and like.
Can I share something? Can I share something with you, Justin, as well? Like for so long, many years, decades, I always thought, like as time went on, like graduating high school, going to university and stuff, there was always a little thought here and there that this was just a dream, and I'd wake up in 1986 on the plane home from the US, going home from the US. Word. I don't know why. I just thought, okay, maybe I'm just, and I'm going to wake up in the airplane seat, and I'm going to be 8 years old again. It's just really weird.
So cool. That's very Matrix. Yeah, the Matrix stuff. Yeah, I love that.
Well, it might be true. I don't know.
So cool.
Do you have any glitches?
I wonder what it was about.
Yeah,
1986. It was just that particular moment in time stuck out to you.
Yeah, maybe 1986 when I was on the plane as a little tacker. Maybe I did drop off, and then I woke up and I go, oh, And then maybe that started the thought, what if everything's a dream? And it just stuck with me. And then so, decades later, I'd be like, oh, what if this is all a dream and I'm still on that plane? So it's weird.
Yeah.
Any glitches like that with you, Justin, or are you normal?
Well, the only time that I've ever been knocked out was when I had my appendix out.
Oh.
That was the only time I've ever been under anesthesia. So for that was really weird, going through that and then waking up after the surgery and not knowing how much time had passed. Oh. So that, for a while, it took me a while to wrap my brain around that. I was just unconscious for 8 hours and I have no recollection of anything. So
blacked out. That would be a bit scary, actually, Yeah,
that was very, it was a scary moment.
I see in the prompt sheet, Justin, you've erased that mark that you have. I can see your cursor.
Justin.
I did. Yeah. Well, if there aren't any other notes, look, I can't think of any references to other runs. Look, I don't think there's any there. In fact,
I couldn't think of any either. No,
I'm pretty sure that there aren't. Yeah.
I think this is...
Yeah, it pretty much wraps it up. If we give this a rating then for listeners who can traverse the conversation between Predator and the Matrix in and amongst our discussion, what do you make of this, Justin? Issue 11. It's not even titled. It's not even subtitled. Part 11.
Yeah, there's no... I was going to say that I couldn't remember a title of this, but I guess there isn't one. But, after talking about it, I guess I'll bump it up to a 4 from 3.5. I'll bump it up to a 4.
Okie dokie. 4 out of 10. So that is giving you a telephone moon. Ring, ring. Hello.
Telephone moon, yes.
Telephone moon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Konoshu. Or I should also mention as well Chloe as well. Chloe, Konoshu. Preference. I will give this... I didn't hate it. Maybe a 6. I'll go 6 out of 10 again. I always linger around.
6 out of 10. Okay.
Oh, well, it's above. I think it's above average. It's either 5.5 or a 6. And I did like the action scenes. Comparing it to some of the other issues in this run. And look, to be fair, again, I'm going to go flat out and say it. I don't mind this run at all. I know some loonies absolutely hate it. Now with the hindsight of knowing the subsequent runs of these and how diverse all the volumes are of Moon Knight, this is just another writer's take on it. Sure, it's very different.
Exactly.
And he ignores a lot of stuff. Would I prefer this or Jed MacKay's? Jed MacKay's for sure, because it pays homage to previous runs. But, this is what it is, and he's trying something new. I like the inclusion of Echo in it. As we mentioned, Madame Masque is pretty cool, and Count Nefaria, a bit of a weird one, but I'm enjoying Madame Masque. So 6 out of 10. I think getting Small Moon, I think that's worthy of it. It all wraps up in our next Waxing Crescent. I don't know whenever that is, but the final issue of Bendis. So I guess we'll revisit how it all kind of wraps up. But did this feel like a penultimate issue to you, Justin, or what did you?
It kind of did with the amount of action. It felt like it was ramping up the tension for a conclusion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with the Ultron head being up for grabs, I liked that. I felt like it did a good job of getting the reader ready for a big finish.
It's just a big finish. That sounds like Lilith. It's just really weird. I just thought, because to me it almost seemed that Cat Nefaria that had closed out. He was beaten and then we get a new villain in Madame Masque, and she kind of gets soundly beaten in this issue. And then Count Nefaria returns. So I found that just a little bit weird. For one more issue, we're getting the Count back. I guess it will totally close things out. But for me, I've already kind of moved on from Count Nefaria. And if I was reading this month to month, it would have been cool to have Madame Masque in issue 11 and 12 at least, and have some other different finale. But, we'll see how... To be honest, I can't remember how it ends, Justin. So...
Yeah, I don't either. Like I said, I only read it once, so
Yeah.
I really had to scratch my brain to remember that last issue.
Well, our minds are like computers, Justin. You know, you put in useful information and you have to discard some others. So
exactly. There's only so much storage space.
Exactly. It may have been deleted in your memory banks long ago. Same with mine. So. Well, there you go, listeners. If I do this properly, it's an average of 5 out of 10. So right down the middle. Take it as you will. Give it a go. Always give it a go. And as I said, the complete collection will come out in February. And I mean, listen to your fellow loonies, but at the same time, just judge it for yourself as well. Yeah. I mean, you might like
read it for yourself and make up your own mind, and don't let anybody pressure you. Like this, like I said, this is 10 years old now, and this. It read better for me the second time than the first time I read it, like I said before. So maybe in 10 years from now, this will be even better. So
exactly. And for those that were around when it first hit, 10 years is a long time to hold that hatred for it. Just maybe release that grip a little.
Exactly.
And as I mentioned, there are other runs now that you can kind of compare it to. So, definitely it's not the best Moon Knight run for me, but it's an interesting it's a curious tidbit, Justin, in the canon.
Yeah. And with any character that has almost, 40 to 50 years worth of back history, you're going to have a few incarnations or a few versions of the character that people don't like the malice towards Fist of Khonshu. Like, I get it. It's an interpretation of the character that people aren't into, and I totally get it. I get their reasoning for all of it. And same thing with this, with the Bendis interpretation. There's some people probably that this is their favorite version of Moon Knight, and that's totally fine. Yeah.
I wonder if, Justin, with the announcement of Arthur Harrow in the trailer, whether there are now Moon Knight fans out there. I've always liked Fist of Khonshu ever since it came out. I never hated it. I always loved it. Yeah, Arthur Harrow is my favorite. Well, he might be. I mean,
that's my favorite issue of Moon Knight was Fist of Khonshu number 2. It was the best one ever.
Loonies, if there is one of you out there, or a few, I'm not prejudging, and that is your favorite issue, please let us know. I'd love to look. Justin and I, we both love the Fist of Khonshu run. I am a more recent convert. I'm making fun of myself because, before when I first read it, I wasn't too much of a fan, but I have grown to love it. I mean, what is it? It's 17. Oh God, it's over 30 years old. It's enough time to actually change your 40, to change your perception of it. And I'm enjoying it. And I think actually, and I'll credit. I had this chat with Noel. I'll credit the Velvet Drapes for that. So Noel for telling me to stick with it, to read it again, see if you like it, and for you, Justin, during our Ilara chat. You had Fist of Khonshu 1, and we went through it, and I just loved it. Like, I loved us going through it, and I found a newfound love for it. So, listeners as well.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So
that's great.
It could be apply that to the Bendis run. Give it another read. Give Fist of Khonshu another read. Let us know why you're the greatest fan of Fist of Khonshu. Justin, we have
one. I'll do for reappraisal at some point.
It is absolutely. Who knows? And Ethan Hawke, if he smashes it out of the park, oh my gosh, Arthur Harrow is the new big villain in the MC or in the Marvel universe.
Yes, maybe we'll see him return to the comics.
God. Nothing. Never say never. That's it.
That's true.
Now we got together, Justin and I, for this in kind of short notice, so I didn't get a discussion thread out there. But let's go to Night Lanes, and Justin, we don't have any comments or feedback for this issue, but we do have for our last episode, Hit It.
Yes.
Which I'm sure you would love that. I think everyone loves that issue.
Oh, I love that one, yes. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. We do have one comment from the discussion thread there from the Facebook group. Justin, if you have it in front of you, would you be able to give it a read?
Yes. So Lena has written in. Hello, Lena.
Hey, Lena.
about Hit It. And Lena writes, this was a very unusual and fascinating issue. One of the finest examples of Sienkiewicz doing what he does best, pushing the boundaries of comic book art. The writing was very poetic, but also tackled the difficult issue of abuse and how it can create a cycle of violence. Overall, one of the most artistic issues of Moon Knight ever, and definitely among my favorites also.
Yeah,
I agree. That's one of the best, I think.
It is absolutely one of the best, and thank you so much, Lena, for those thoughts. I think sharing the sentiments of us as well. So it was a very strong issue. I mean, it's hard to fault it. Looking back now, I mean, if you're really into your high octane action issues, you know, spectacles, it's not there. It's very kind of subdued, but just, you know, when it was released during the time, and the artwork is still very inspiring. It's just, I don't know, you don't come across this in, you know, dare I say, the big two that often. You know, the only lightness I can think of is probably like Neil Gaiman's Sandman, that sort of stuff. You know, where it kind of goes it goes off the beaten track. For what mainstream, a bit more comics. Esoteric. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Justin's got the better words than I do. So, I forgot to put this in the prompt sheets, Justin. But pardon me, we have a couple from Instagram as well for Hit It for issue 26. So Liam Aguilar _ hello Liam, says No, that's I'll leave that to last. Mr. Moon Knight says, totally my favourite issue. I may have to reread it. I hope you did, Mr. Moon Knight. And Spectral Crescent Comics is the best issue from Volume 1, in my opinion. That's hard to argue against, for sure. Incidentally, Justin, one more thing. Liam did say, this is totally off the beaten track, just out of curiosity, does anyone know which issue of Moon Knight the fake Random Bullshit Go panel is from? Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that from the Moon Knight core. Moon Knight hurling all these relics. Random Bullshit Go.
Yeah, that is a West Coast Avengers
well done
issue.
I think, yes.
Yeah. I wonder if it was an issue or if it was the annual where he was fighting... It was the annual. It was the annual where he was fighting the Black Knight, and he threw everything at the Black Knight, and the Black Knight used his sword to deflect a bunch of it. I'm almost sure that's what that's.
We've done that issue.
We talked about that one. Yeah, we reviewed that one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Justin! This is why we pay you the big bucks. Justin's incidentally, Justin is not getting paid. It's just purely out of his passion. Sorry, I wish I could pay, but yeah. Wow. So I responded. I thought it was from West Coast Avengers, but, you know, I'm following you. If you think it's the annual,
I'm almost positive it's the annual. Yeah, I'm almost sure it's the annual.
Well, I hope, Liam, that answers your question. But again, thank you everyone there from Instagram giving us all your thoughts on Hit It 26. Now you can also do that obviously for this issue, Brian Michael Bendis. I'll put a discussion thread, Justin, after we record, obviously. So still happy listeners to hear from you as well, and we'll read them out in the following episode. But always fun to hear from everyone. And speaking of which, Justin, as well, a huge thank you for coming onto the show. I think
well, thank you for having me. Yeah, as always.
Yeah, I think we did a nice little wrap up of issue 11 there from Brian Michael Bendis. And as I mentioned, listeners, you can I'm just going to skip ahead. You can contact us on email at feedback@ickmoonnight.com. We've also got a website. You can drop in your comments there as well. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, Get Vocal, and Podchaser. So you can always add in your comments. I'll be checking them all, hopefully. I don't often check the website, but I will if you want. Or you can leave voicemail. That would help indeed as well. Before we go, Justin, I know you did mention it at the top of the show. You've got something working around in February. We're looking forward to the Lost Library of Legends. Any more you can divulge in that? Or
so I don't know if I went into detail before about the Lost Library, but basically each month there's going to be a spotlight episode on some type of comic that's either a limited series or an ongoing series that was short-lived, or just something that didn't really catch on, that fell between the cracks and that people might not know about, to kind of get some more eyes on these obscure comic books that some of them were made by really respected creators, but people just don't know about them. So that's going to be my goal, is to introduce people to some of these more obscure comics and titles. But in addition to that, similar to the format of Tomes of Evil, where we have our sub-series every month, we're going to be having a bunch of sub-shows as well that are going to be dedicated to some similarly obscure characters, such as Marvel's Sleepwalker,
yes,
and Darkhawk,
yes,
Jim Starlin's Dreadstar, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
A couple of DC characters. We're going to be doing one all about the Denny O'Neil and Dennis Cohen run of The Question from the late 80s. That show is going to be called Zen and Violence. And I'm also doing a show about Dr. Fate, which I'm really excited about because, as you know, he's my favorite DC character. But there's another DC character who I love, and her name is Maxima. I don't know if you're familiar with her, Ray. But she
magical? No?
Well, she's an alien. She started out, she's a Roger Stern and George Perez creation. And she started out actually as an antagonist for Superman, where she wanted him basically as her mate to start this whole new line of warlords. And he didn't want anything to do with her, so she tried to kick his ass. In a nutshell, that's basically what happened. But she turned over a new leaf and actually became heroic and joined the Justice League for a while. And I always loved her. I thought she was a really neat, complex, interesting character. And so we're doing a show about all of her appearances from the beginning up until her most recent ones.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, I mean, Loonies, you are spoilt with choice there as well, and some many great characters there. So for sure, check it out. And as always, we'll put this in the show notes. I mean, Tomes of Evil are part of the collective anyway, so there's a link in our show notes for the collective there as well. Any room there, Justin, in Lost Library of Legends for UN Force by any chance, or?
Oh, UN Force. We're definitely going to do a spotlight on UN Force.
Some of
and
you
I'd
may
love to have you on as a guest for that when we do that one day. Yeah.
I would love to. Some of the loonies may know that there are some Egyptian-based characters in there, so Justin and I covered that previously in one of our other chapters.
And an Australian hero. There's an Australian hero in UN Force.
There's not enough of them, Justin. There aren't enough. I know we're a country of convicts, but there are some heroes too. So, there are some flowers out of the pile of dung. Not that Australia is a pile of dung. Anyway. Just move along before I get myself into any other trouble. A big thank you once again to Justin. Always great to have you on. Next phase, 265, we're looking at a waxing gibbous, and it is the other side of the moon. Now, I have changed the other side of the moon, the segment, and instead of that being a Moon Knight, a comic where Moon Knight is featured in, what it will be a discussion on a past or present Moon Knight writer or artist, so one of the Moon Knight alumni, and one of their other works. Will be fun. It just kind of broadens the show a little bit. It's still tangentially Moon Knight, but that will be fun to do. So keep an eye out as to what that will be on. I'm not too sure yet.
I have a suggestion for that for when you get to that, Ray.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Doug Mensch actually wrote a phenomenal 6-issue miniseries for DC.
Oh, okay.
No. It's not Batman, Ray. Don't worry.
Good. I thought you were going there.
No. Okay. I know you better than that, Ray. No. And I think it was 87, 88. It was after Moon Knight. Doug Mensch wrote a fantastic 6-issue miniseries for DC called Lords of the Ultra Realm.
Oh.
And I think that is my favorite non-Moon Knight Doug Mensch work, because it's a self-contained story. It's got some really cool concepts and characters. So that I would recommend that one as a suggestion.
Well,
yeah.
Justin, I mean, if our schedules can work, I mean, if you want, if it's one of your faves, I'd love to have you on for it. I mean, I haven't planned anything. Yeah, and anything Doug Mensch I love. So, well, there you go, Loonies. Organised on the spot there. We'll get that working for you. But we'll do a 6-parter. What was it called again? The Realms of...
Lords of the Ultra Realm.
Lords of the Ultra Realm. I might put that one up there on for discussion as well. So, fantastic stuff, Justin. Looking forward to it, actually. So I've got to hunt that down. Do you know if it's expensive or no? Is it?
I don't think so. No, okay. I think I found all 6 issues in the dollar bin a few years ago. I
want to get these.
It was about 10.
Yeah. Sorry?
What's that?
Oh, no, I'd prefer to get a copy of it for our discussion rather than, just find other ways to read it.
I think that they're very easy to find. I don't think it caught on very well. I don't think it was very popular for some reason. It didn't have anything to do with the DC universe. It was its own self-contained story. Cool. It was its own self-contained world. And sometimes in the 80s when DC did that, it was successful, and sometimes it wasn't. But
gotcha.
I really enjoyed this, and I think that you will as well. I first read this one about 10 or so years ago, and I'm due to read it again. So, if you want to...
Super keen. Yeah, for sure.
Great.
Excellent. We'll be sure to do that. Go get yourself some copies of that as well, Loonies, if you can, and join us for our next episode. A big thank you to our patronies again, to the likes of Justin, the Velvet Drape. Always good to listen to. If you drop in at patreon.com/RTK Moon Knight, you can look at and find out all the incentives that we have on offer. And a big thank you to all the patronies who have contributed or are contributing so far. So, of course, Daniel, Drew, Justin, Derek, Kyle, Frank, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Anthony, Russell, Michael, Mario, and Gavin. Thank you one and all. And a big shout out to Frank Dukes' nephew, who Frank gave a Moon Knight t-shirt to, and I believe Frank's nephew is a Moon Knight fan now, and he listens to the show potentially, so a big shout out to you. Hoping you're enjoying it, hoping you enjoy Moon Knight and the community.
I love that story too about how he gave him his extra copy of Fist of Khonshu #1. I love that story. That tickled me.
Yeah, I mean, and for any collector, I mean, that's not like you're giving away X-Men 1.
Right.
Fist of Khonshu's, it's a very, very generous of you, Frank. So love to hear those stories from Loonies. As well as our sponsor, CLZ Comics at collectors.com. Check out there. It's fantastic database to keep on track of your whole collection. Daniel Doing's Fringe Knight, an original indie comic based on Erie, Pennsylvania's very own mysterious superhero. His Patreon page, patreon.com/Fringe Knight 27. And Drew Toombs' music can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. So Toombs... the music Toombs can be found at soundcloud.com/Toombs with a Z, and Lurk Music, Drew's other moniker, can be found at lurkmusic with a ck.bandcamp.com. And finally, Dreamland Comics.
I love his music too, by the way, Ray. I finally had a chance to listen to some of it recently. I purchased all of it a while back, and I finally had a chance to sit down and listen to some of it recently. I really enjoyed it. It made great music, soundtrack music for reading, actually.
Yeah. I've got to say there's some other music I've really enjoyed as well, Justin. A certain Justin Osgood has posted some music as well, which I'm really enjoying, and I can't wait to hear on your shows as well. No, very, very cool stuff. So, I mean, Loonies, geez, there must be correlation here. Noel, Justin, Drew, all musically talented. So definitely check out, of course, definitely check out Drew's stuff, but check out Justin's stuff as well. Go harass Justin on his Facebook page. That's where I saw it. But no, really, really fun stuff. Really good stuff, Justin.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Dreamland Comics, if you use the promo code MOON, you'll get 20% off their online store as well. And as mentioned as well, we are part of the collective, and the likes of Tomes of Evil are part of it. I'd like to say upcoming as well. I mean, I'm sure the Lost Library of Legends will be in there, in amongst the group of the collective, as well as the likes of Trapped in the World, the Howard the Duck podcast.
Howard the Duck podcast.
Yeah, very cool indeed. Hosted by Noel and Russell, so you would be familiar with their voices. But I should give a plug to other collective members as well. So I'm going to say Happiness in Darkness, the superhero movie podcast. They're very cool. And Inner Demons, a Ghost Rider podcast. Brian Biggie doing great work over there. I've already mentioned where you can find us, so I'm not going to go through that again. Needless to say, there are links in the show notes as well. Let us, would really love to hear from you, as always. It's really fun to interact and to chat. I mean, we're all just fans of Moon Knight, so it's just fun to get that conversation going. But a big thank you once again, Justin. What are you up to for the rest of...
Thank you as always for having me, really.
Yeah. Any plans for this evening?
I'm going to do some more reading.
Lovely.
Actually, as a bit of a spoiler for Tomes of Evil, we're doing a character spotlight in February on Typhoid Mary from Daredevil.
Love Typhoid
Mary.
So
I've been going back and reading some of the Ann Nesenti, John Romita Jr. Daredevil stuff that introduced her, and it's so good. I love it.
Yeah,
I'll be reading.
Sorry, you'll be reading. Yeah,
it's classic stuff.
Classic stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is classic stuff. I love that stuff. I mean, she turned up also in the Bendis Daredevil run as well. Very good in that too. But I just love the Nesenti run. I think it's brilliant. So, So, well, a big thank you once again. And with that, everyone, loonies, see if I can get this to work, Justin. Oh, no, I'll just do it later in post-production. I'll just let you know now, loonies. May Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
See you, everyone.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.